Most people expect God's blessings to arrive with fanfare, a flashy promotion, a sudden windfall, a dramatic rescue. But what if God's work is quieter? What if the proof He's moving in your life looks more like a steady whisper than a headline? Today I want to show you 7 unmistakable signs that God is about to change your life. These are not formulas. They are simple, often overlooked realities that point to an invisible hand at work. If one of these is already true for you, type one word in the comments, blessed, or the sign you have. Just one word. Sign number 1, peace in your mind. Not the brief lift of good news, but a deep, sustaining calm. This is the kind of peace Paul describes as the peace that surpasses understanding. Philippians 4:7. It doesn't mean everything is fixed. It means your heart is anchored even when the waves keep coming. Maybe you haven't figured out the next step in your job, or a relationship is still fragile, and yet you sleep more than you used to. Maybe anxiety still visits, but it no longer moves in to live. That quiet confidence is proof that God is rearranging your interior life. Tonight, notice that peace. Name it, thank God for it, and write down one thing that helped you breathe today. Sign number 2, food on your table today. This is a small, practical sign of God's daily care. Provision doesn't always arrive as a grand miracle. Sometimes it's a neighbor's casserole, a steady paycheck, a friend dropping off groceries when the fridge looks empty. Jesus taught His followers to look for daily bread as a sign of daily dependence and care. If you have a meal waiting for you tonight, that is not trivial. It's God's mercy lived out in the mundane. Practice a simple gratitude. Before you eat, bless the meal or say thank you out loud for this day's provision. If you can, consider passing it on, share a meal, or give a small blessing to someone else this week. Sign number 3. Someone who would pick up the phone at 2 a.m. Real community is a sign. God rarely works alone. He brings people into our lives who mirror His care. This could be a friend who shows up without judgment, a neighbor who checks on you, a church member who prays over your name, or even a stranger who becomes dependable. The presence of at least one real, responsive relationship matters. It shows you are not walking this season solo. So call that person this week, not with a long sermon, just to say thank you. Keep that connection tended. Sign number 4. You woke up this morning. Every new sunrise is a thumping, undeniable reminder that God isn't done with you. Scripture says His mercies are new every morning. Lamentations 3:22-23. That simple fact, you opened your eyes, is an invitation to purpose. It's not a suggestion to be passive. It's an urgent, gentle call to choose today. Make one small plan for the day and write it down. It could be 5 minutes of prayer, a message to someone who needs encouragement, or completing one task you've been avoiding. Treat the morning as a gift to steward. Sign number 5. Faith that still breathes, even if it feels like a mustard seed. Jesus said faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains in its effect, not as a magic wand, but as a living trust that God uses, Matthew 17:20 style. You might not feel heroic, you might barely whisper a prayer, yet the fact that you pray at all, that you still hope, that you believe God can direct a next step, that is fuel for change. Small faith grows when it is fed. Feed yours. Read a short passage of Scripture, pray for 5 minutes, or tell God one honest thing. These tiny acts make space for movement. Sign number 6. Practiced gratitude. Not a feel-good platitude, but a discipline you return to. Gratitude trains your eyes to see what God is already doing. It reshapes your instincts away from entitlement and toward wonder. People who practice gratitude don't ignore pain. They hold both pain and praise together. If you find yourself naming gifts, a warm shower, a patient reply, a moment of beauty, you've begun a habit that opens doors. Try this. List 3 small things you're grateful for right now, and keep that list where you can add to it every day this week. Sign number 7. An inner drawing toward God, that inexplicable tug in your chest to seek something beyond yourself. Sometimes it arrives as restless dissatisfaction with shallow answers. Sometimes it comes as a sudden longing for worship, or a curiosity about prayer, or a concern you can't explain that points you toward God. Jesus taught that the Father draws people, John 6:44, and this inward pull is often the beginning of outward change. If you feel this nudge, respond, pause for a minute, speak to God honestly, or play a hymn and listen. Take the small step of saying, Lord, I'm open. These 7 signs, peace, provision, presence, waking to new mercies, breathing faith, practiced gratitude, and an inner drawing, are not guarantees. They are indicators. They point to movement, possibility, opening. They call for your attention, not your interpretation as a formula. God honors small things and often sets the stage in ways we barely notice until the harvest begins. You may have many of these signs already, or maybe only one. Neither is a measure of your worth. Instead, treat the signs as invitations. Invitations to pay attention, to protect what is given, and to partner with God in the next season. Protect your faith by feeding it. Protect your relationships by showing up. Protect your gratitude by naming it daily. Here's a practical challenge. This week, pick one of the signs you recognize and take one tiny, specific step to steward it. If you feel peace, write a thank you letter to God, or a journal entry about how it helped you. If you have someone who would pick up the phone, reach out and say thank you. If you have faith that still breathes, choose a short passage to read each morning. Small steps matter. Remember, God does not have to make himself loud to be active. The quiet proofs are often the most reliable. A calm heart in chaos, food on the table, a call that answers, the gift of a morning, a faith that still prays, gratitude practiced like a muscle, a deep, gentle pull toward the Lord. These are unmistakable signs because they change you from the inside out. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Let this list be a map to help you recognize God's fingerprints on your life and come back to it when things feel heavy. You are not forgotten. You are being tended, and God's faithfulness is real. God hasn't forgotten you.